It is late April, and I do want to give my presidential predictions. I do this at the end of every even month. So here, Mark Stewart Greenstein with what is likely for 2024 at the presidential level. And I am going to tell you, I think it's likely a Democrat year, but not with Joe Biden. I think he is done with running within 11 months. End of March, I see Biden having to pull out. And it will be mainly because we don't want another Nixon. And the Hunter Biden scandals are going to be rightly termed the Joe Biden scandals, okay? Because Hunter is just a conduit to machinations and dealings that have been going on because of his father's presence and probably somewhat by his father, okay? He seems unaware of a lot of things, but as vice president, he was aware enough to accept a lot of money from family members for their dealings overseas. That's at the least. Now, for the real push. I see the Robert F. Kennedy presidency, or the campaign anyway, as being the political push-off. Rightly so, and I actually see evidence of 1968 repeating itself. Now, I was only 4 years old then, but I'm a U.S. history teacher, so hearken back with me. When in 1968, we had an aging president. Nobody especially liked Lyndon Johnson. They liked his party. LBJ, similar to Biden, was the most seasoned politician in his party. LBJ, like Biden, was a longtime senator and a past vice president. In our most recent election, 2020, few people especially liked Joe Biden. A few influential black officials in South Carolina turned the tide for Biden, who until that time, 3 prior primaries, had done poorly. 5th place, 4th place, and another we don't know, but it was at best 4th. Okay, that's because the Iowa caucuses in 2020, the Democrat officials couldn't count correctly. They didn't release results, but it would have shown Biden in at best 4th, following Buttigieg, Sanders, Klobuchar, maybe even behind Elizabeth Warren. That was the result in New Hampshire a week later. People ended up going to Biden within his party because he was the last man standing. He did, to his credit, hang in there. He had that whiff of steam from the South Carolina primary, and people, I think, more admired Biden for his predecessor. And that's similar to 1968 as well, okay? Both Barack Obama and John F. Kennedy were young movers, okay? They were in each way broke a mold. And so their vice president successors, there was some loyalty there as well. But again, not a high liking for LBJ and not a high liking for Biden either. They elected over the Republican LBJ, and this is similar to Biden too, because LBJ and the media made people scared of his opponent. That happened in 2020 as well. Prior to the first primary in 1968, LBJ was challenged by an upstart. That was Eugene McCarthy. LBJ presided over bad foreign policy, embarrassingly so in Asia, and a shaky economy back home. Eugene McCarthy ekes out not a victory, it was a 6-point loss. But to a sitting president, that was unheard of. The aging president, and now, well, even before that, his party's leaders in the back started looking for someone else. And aging President Johnson decides at the end of March that he will no longer run for election. He'll serve out his term and no more. Thereafter, two prominent Democrats enter the presidential race. That would be Governor Wallace and Senator Bobby Kennedy. So there's a lot of similarities, 24 to 1968. It is Bobby Kennedy's son who is now the Eugene McCarthy of 1968, and Joe Biden is the LBJ. I predict that Joe Biden makes a withdrawal by the end of March after he fails to get a majority of delegates on Super Tuesday and the following week's primaries. That's in early March. Incidentally, LBJ's announcement followed an early primary, and by the end of March, he was done. My prediction about the successor, that's next.